LSU's offense is going to deep fry everybody that they play this season. With the amount of firepower that they have on offense entering this season, they can cook you anytime from anywhere on the field, anytime they get possession of the football. You got Garrett Nussmeier, who is one of the best returning quarterbacks in college football entering this season. He was 10th in the nation in QBR in his first season as the full-time starter for LSU, and he has the potential to win the Heisman Trophy this year, because when Jaden Daniels and Joe Burrow won the Heisman Trophy at LSU, they did it in their second seasons, and what helped them is that they had a bunch of great receivers that were explosive to throw the football to. Garrett Nussmeier has the ability to follow down that same path that Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels did in their second seasons with the firepower that LSU is giving him to throw the football to this year. This is the fastest receiving core in college football. You got Aaron Anderson, who runs 4.39. You got Nick Anderson out of the transfer portal, who 2 years ago at Oklahoma had 10 touchdowns, and he was averaging 21 yards per reception. Then you got Barry Brown out of the transfer portal to go along with Nick Anderson. Barry Brown, for the last 2 seasons, has been one of the most underrated receivers in America because he's been criminally underutilized by a Kentucky program that's been unable to get consistent and stable quarterback play along with great play calling. Then let's not forget about tight end Trudez Green, who is a 6'7" monster. He was the second best tight end coming out of high school in 2024. And Trudez Green is like Kyle Pitts on crack, because I don't know who the hell is going to stop this dude. When you're 6'7" and you're moving like him, and you can not just play tight end but receiver as well, it's hard to stop a monster like this. If you saw that bowl game that LSU had last year against Baylor, you'll understand how much of a problem Trudez Green is going to be this year. So not only do you have this 6'7" freak at tight end, receiver, wherever they choose to put him at, but you have the fastest and most explosive receiving core in college football. So Garrett Nussmeier, I think that the path is pretty clear for him to be a finalist in New York for the Heisman on Broadway this year. And then the running game should be improved this year. The ground game has been the biggest Achilles heel for LSU since Brian Kelly first took this job. He's really struggled to get the ground game going, but I think this year the ground game should actually be pretty good for LSU. You got Caleb Durham, who is going into his sophomore season after a phenomenal true freshman campaign where he was a SEC all-freshman selection. He had over 1,000 total yards in his first season in college football. He was averaging over 5 yards per attempt behind an offensive line that wasn't really that great at opening up running lanes. And he also is a really good threat coming out of the backfield with how good his hands are. So you essentially have a guy that can just do a bunch of different things. He's a mismatch for any defense because most linebackers aren't good enough to keep up with him in coverage. And he also is a really shifty and explosive runner as well. So everything that LSU has on offense this year, they're going to be able to just cook a lot of defenses that they go up against this year. At times, LSU's offense kind of got stuck in the mud, but it more so is because they tend to beat themselves. And the biggest issue with Garrett Nussmeier last season was that at times in the second half, he would just completely implode because he was too reckless with the football. Prime example was that Texas A&M game, when that game at one point they were in firm control of until midway through the third quarter. Garrett Nussmeier just felt like it was Christmas time, and he was handing away turnovers like they were Christmas gifts, like he was one of Santa's helpers. That's what you can expect out of a first-time starter. I believe in year 2, we'll see a more efficient Garrett Nussmeier who will be way better at taking care of the football. And when you're throwing the ball 40, nearly 50 times a game, you're going to have a few turnovers here or there, because the more you throw the football, the more you increase the chances of your quarterback turning it over. So if LSU being able to play a more complementary style of offense this year, you should see Garrett Nussmeier's turnovers decrease this season. The offensive line, yeah, they do lose a lot of production from last year, but at times the offensive line tend to be a little bit up and down despite the amount of talent they had at that unit. I think this year the offensive line play should still be as good because LSU has recruited the offensive line at a really high level, and they do have a good amount of guys that have had significant snaps. So I don't think that's really going to be a weakness of this offense. I don't really think this LSU offense has a weakness at all. I mean, anytime they get possession of the football with just the snap of a finger, they can put 7 points up on the board on you with the amount of speed and how much explosiveness that they have on this side of the ball this year. It's going to be incredibly tough for any defense to slow down this offense. That's why this LSU unit is going to be able to just deep fry everybody, because if you want to play the run, they're going to be able to kill you over the top with play action. And if you want to try to slow down the play action pass game, they can just run the football at will against you. It's just really hard to find a way to stop an offense that has this amount of explosiveness and this kind of speed at receiver and at running back. And when you got a gunslinger like Garrett Nussmeier slinging that rock, this is an offense that's going to be really potent this upcoming season.